Sean Penn didn't set out to make a movie with his daughter. When the two-time Oscar-winning actor first read the screenplay for Flag Day, now in theaters, adapted from Jennifer Vogel's 2004 memoir Flim-Flam Man, he was immediately compelled by the story of a young woman coming to terms with her well-meaning, con artist father. But within a very short page count of reading it, there was a face embedded into one of the characters, for me, and it was my daughter's, says Sean, 61, who directs and co-stars in the decade-spanning drama. Between the lyricism of the screenplay, the interesting family dynamics and the notion of her playing that role, I was hooked. Dylan Penn, 30, is one of Sean's two children with his ex-wife, actress and director Robin Wright. Younger brother Hopper, 28, also appears in Flag Day, although Dylan has had bit parts before in 2016's Elvis and Nixon and a Nick Jonas music video. Flag Day marks her first starring role as Jennifer, an aspiring journalist struggling to maintain an honest relationship with her unreliable, law-breaking dad John, played by Sean. Dylan always saw herself behind the camera, but around 18, both my parents on separate occasions told me that to step foot on set as a director without knowing what it's like to be an actor is a bad idea, she says. When this film came to fruition years later, having had some experience in acting, as well as my own life experience to bring to this character, it felt too good to pass up. From skinning an animal to directing in the snow. Sean and Dylan, who counts Milk and House of Cards among her favorite of her parents' projects to watch, talked to USA Today about their collaboration. Dylan Penn, the only actors I had around were my parents. I had a pretty normal upbringing, in terms of not being around celebrities. But my mom did a movie with Morgan Freeman, 1996's Moll Flanders, when I was very young, maybe 3 or 4. That's my earliest memory of being on set, because I was madly in love with Morgan's grandson, who was about 18. Laughs. Sean Penn, it was never something that once they came of age, I would have discouraged on the basis of the very public exposure issues, whether it has to do with your private life or the way that people can be vulnerable to criticism. What overwhelms that, at least in my own experience, is that it's a job of dreamers and you can't discourage a dreamer from dreaming. But I was glad that Dylan had so much self-awareness that she took the time, for whatever her reasons, to not do this until she was ready to do this. Sean Penn confirms he secretly got married after rumors of wedding with Layla George. Sean, everyone has to find their own path. Certainly there are nuanced things about the business that, when they have come up in the past, I might weigh in. But in both the case of Dylan and Hopper, they're really people who know what they want. So my job is less to advise than to support, particularly at this point in their lives. Dylan laughs. It wasn't. I remember at 14, I don't know if it was my dad or my mom or both of them, but I was allowed to take the car up the street that we lived on and back down. But there was a sense of, you gotta do it to know it. You have to be independent to really learn. So in that way, that was a big similarity between John and my parents raising kids, in terms of encouraging independence. Dylan, I remember for my 13th birthday, I didn't know what I wanted to do and it just seemed like a really big birthday at the time. You're turning into a teenager. My dad and mom came to my school on a Friday afternoon. I was just hanging out with friends after school and they blindfolded me, got me and a bunch of my friends in the car and took us to this amazing semi-Cirque du Soleil dinner theater experience. I had no idea, and I just remember it being so special and feeling so loved. Sean, here's what I'll say, she is most significantly a truth machine, which is a director's dream and a father's dream. But when Dylan would rebel, she was slicker than John in the way it would be the disguised. I found out most of it years later. Laughs, she knew how to cover her tracks. Sean, well, the practical part is I realized it was a great way to ball and chain her to proximity with me for a while as we were shooting it, and now getting the word out about the film. It's just been such a joy. And when we were shooting, we also had Hopper Jack with us. So it's been a great experience top to bottom. Dylan, my passion lies with anything behind the camera, whether it's writing, producing or directing. But as of now, I definitely don't want to shut the door on acting. I got really fortunate with this part, and having the responsibility of telling Jennifer's story with my own father was a really special thing. So it's going to be hard to top, but I think I will definitely continue.